Hey y'all, welcome to DP, the show that gives you the real talk so you're in the know. My name's Neil Lopez and I'm here with
RJ Polite.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about what it's like being involved as a minority at a PWI. It's already challenging being a small number in a swarm of students, but also trying to stand out is more challenging. We're going to show you why this is a struggle at PWIs, mainly focusing on Clemson University. The struggles of joining different clubs and the mental health aspect behind it. And we're going to tell you why we're credible about this by telling you our involvement on campus.
Okay, I can start off. My involvement on campus, I'm the director of public relations for the Clemson Black Student Union, and I'm the treasurer for the first generation program because I'm a first generation student. Also, I'm a resident community mentor. I'm a part of Tiger Vision as well, and I'm an EDGE mentor for my program.
Okay, involvement.
Yeah.
All right, y'all know I'm definitely involved too, so we're just gonna give a little snippet of it. I'm the current Black Student Union president.
Ooh.
I'm also president for Welcome Week.
Ooh.
I'm also a tour guide,
Yeah.
and I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I'm also Legacy Day chair,
Yo.
and a senior peer mentor for Connections.
Ooh.
And that's like a program that's mainly geared for first generation students and minorities on campus, which we'll definitely talk about in the resources gifted for students at PWIs, but being a part of Connections was probably one of the biggest things that's helped me out. So now we're just going to give you an outline of different topics that we're just going to dive into for today.
Okay. The first topic we're going to talk about is how not enough attention for a target audience for like being at a PWI.
I feel like that's a really good topic to talk about, just like going into not having enough attention for like students like us. I feel like at a PWI, in case you don't know, PWI is a predominantly white institution. So that's basically more than 50% of the students at the university are white. So just mainly targeting for minorities, how we're able to get into those. So RJ, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. First tip number one, don't let anyone tell you or make you feel that like you don't belong at the institution. Cause like you all here and like, it's like you have to get involved with each other and like, yeah, just don't let no one tell you what to do.
Facts. I feel like you should be your own person. Like, just kind of diving more for that. It's just, you want to make your own story. Like, you want to have like your own presence on campus wherever you are. I feel like even not having like your own like main thing or not having a lot of people in your family go, that shouldn't stop you from like trying to accomplish anything that you want to.
Yeah, just be yourself. Like, really. Okay, tip number two I see was you got to find strength in each other. Like, cause like, no strength, like you're going to be like weak. You're gonna be down, not really wanting to do nothing, do anything, and it can be tough sometimes, you know. Cause me, coming here, where I'm from, I went to an all-black high school really, and when I got up here, the roles were reversed, and I had to adapt to the culture, and really just got involved.
Dang, how was that being like first gen, like also trying to like balance around that?
It was tough at the beginning, cause I ain't know no one, and it was so hard, but once I got involved, meeting people, best decision I ever made. Really just prepared me what life is really gonna be about. Cause like where I'm from, most of my friends, they go to a historic black college and they're like, yeah, you should've just came here. I'm like, nah, like I need to get prepared for the real world cause you never know who you might meet anybody.
That's true. I feel like being like out of state, I did not know a single person before coming here, and like trying to like be your own person and like being involved, it's like that hard like first like stepping stone to get to, but then once you're kind of like in the groove, like definitely helps out. Kind of like how you're talking about like finding strength in each other, having like your group or people that you can go to either for like academics, personal struggles, whatever the case may be. I think it's nice to have like that community, even if it is different types of people, same group of people, whatever the case is. Definitely just having that support system will help you get through college for sure and in life.
Yeah. Okay, for tip number three, it said you are not a sellout for picking the school of your choice. I can agree on that because many people ask me why I chose Clemson, why I chose to come here, and I'm like, this was my dream school since third grade. I've been planning on coming here.
Dang, that's early.
Yeah, like it's crazy. So many people ask me why you didn't choose SC State, why you didn't choose Claflin. I'm like, I didn't want to be in Orangeburg. I want to get out, like make a change, do something different, you know.
No, I felt that. I feel like in Florida, there's like a lot of big schools, so like not going to like UF, things like that. I definitely got like a lot of questions asked, and I still definitely get questions asked, like even on tours, like why didn't you stay in Florida? And I feel like just being like out of your comfort zone and just being in a new environment. A lot of people talk about Clemson too. I feel like it has like a really big name to get you to places that you want to go to. So wherever your dream school is, or wherever you're thinking about going to, going out of state, in state, whatever the case is, just expanding beyond what you're comfortable with is definitely something to feel comfortable with being uncomfortable, just because like you never know what you're gonna do later on in life. So just kind of creating that atmosphere now, I think, helps out a lot.
Facts. All right, for tip number 4, it's a use your voice and be start of something bigger. Like what we doing now. We using our voice. We voicing our opinion. Cause like you always want to have to speak up. Like everyone should have the opportunity like to talk about things and like, you know, just talk about some things.
Facts. I think using your voice definitely helps out, just because it's like when we're talking about things like not having enough attention or like the struggles of like finding out resources, using your voice I think is the biggest thing that you can do, because then you're able to get the concerns out there more and then get more involvement for those issues and then hopefully find a solution for that. So
yeah. Tip number 5, I can't stress this enough. Don't forget who you are or where you came from.
Heavy.
I always tell my friends and everyone that like I never forget where I came from. Cause like not many people from my hometown got like at a big school like where I'm at. So I'm really blessed, and like I just never gonna forget where I come from. Cause majority of people like sometimes they be forgetting where they come from and forget about people and switch up. And nah, it's not that type. That's not the type to be that way. So
no, I agree with that too, because it's like you'll see a lot of people now in college, they'll like try to change like their whole personality just because they're not in high school anymore, which I feel like you don't have to do. Like if you want to start off fresh, definitely go for it, but definitely just stay like true to yourself. Like you want to be you, because at the end of the day, like that's gonna be tiring trying to be a different type of person. And if you join like some type of club, like don't change because of it, just because you're in a different org or whatever the case is. I feel like also just staying true to yourself is how you got in, so you might as well just keep that up once you're in there. It doesn't mean that you're at a different like social status, higher class, whatever the case is. I feel like just being involved like is a great thing to be a part of, but then also being grateful for having those opportunities, and then just being humble for where you are now. Like getting into Clemson is like a really big accomplishment, and I didn't realize that until being in it, and then also giving tours, like seeing like the stats behind it and little informations like that. So just realizing like how far you've gotten from wherever you started coming to now, like you've made such a great progress, but just continuing with that growth and the determination, I think that'll get you so much farther too.
Yeah, picking up for like tip number 6, it stated that don't change yourself to fit in. Like you shouldn't be able to want to fit in. Like I feel like it's kind of weird if you try to like fit in to some things. Like just be yourself, like accept for who you are. Like many people I know seen, they done try to fit in and weren't able to fit in, and just ain't work out for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Tip number 8, go to class, study, do your homework, reach out office hours, the main stuff. Have fun, have controlled fun at that, put it like that.
I think we need to stress go to class. I think that is very important. I feel like sometimes when we do get involved in just being like on campus and we're having fun, we forget that we come to Clemson for the academics.
Yeah.
So I think kind of going back to that, definitely go to class, because you have to graduate. That's like the most important.
Then you're paying all the tuition.
Exactly.
Why not go to class? Like, come on now.
That's why you came here, and that's what your goal is, because if you want to get a job, you want to do anything in life, having that degree is going to get you so much farther.
Yeah.
So definitely staying on track and going to class, no matter if you don't want to get out of bed that day, it's too cold, it's too rainy. Trust me, I'm from Florida. Anything under 70 is cold to me, and I still got out in these cold fall months.
Yeah.
So if I can do it, y'all can do it too. And just staying on top of your homework, assignments. As much as we want to hang out with our friends, sometimes realizing that you need that personal time too, I think that'll dedicate like that specific time, and then you can hang out with them after. I think that's also important.
Yeah, schoolwork comes first before anything.
Facts.
Word. And okay, so now we're gonna be moving to topic number 2, where we will talk about the struggle between joining minority-based clubs versus Clemson-based clubs.
Yeah. I think like a lot of people don't really know sometimes the difference. I feel like there's so many clubs you could join at Clemson. There's over 550 clubs. If you don't see one that you like, you can make your own. I know a couple of my friends that have done that, but I promise we have anything from a medical club, law club, we have a skydiving club.
Chick-fil-A club.
Chick-fil-A club. That club is coming in clutch. You get free Chick-fil-A every month. I promise you, that is a good.
I just joined that club, because you know I love me some Chick-fil-A.
That is a good club to join. But definitely some minority-based clubs, kind of how we're both a part of Black Student Union, that would be more like geared towards like minorities, as you can tell. There's also ones for different minorities besides just being Black. But then versus the Clemson-based ones, those are more geared towards the university. So CUSG, that's like student government. You'd be part of tour guides, student alumni association, You could be a part of the IPTE, which is like ISAB. You have definitely a lot of different clubs you're able to do either based on what you're passionate about. So kind of how we talked about in the different tips and not really seeing enough attention for the target zones. I think joining something in your comfort zone versus going outside of it is definitely a big thing we want to talk about. Kind of like in our comfort zone, I feel like BSU is definitely a good one for both of us.
Yeah.
How do you like BSU so far?
I mean, I joined last year and like it's the best decision I ever made. Like, and I met so many friends. I got so many friends. I'm sitting by one of my friends right now. You know, it was the best decision. You know, because my freshman year, I'm not gonna lie, I did not know no one. Like, I didn't know how to get involved. So one day I just signed up for BSU at the Grill and Greet and just start going to all the meetings and events and start meeting people. Now I'm on the exec board doing big things. So yeah.
We love. No, but that's true though. I feel like starting somewhere in your comfort zone is good. Like BSU was definitely a great place to meet more people and then have that community, that sense of belonging like we kind of talked about. And then I think from there, I started like seeing other opportunities, and then that's when I learned about like tour guides. Another one is like Welcome Week, and that was kind of me going outside of my comfort zone because I knew I was not going to know anybody beforehand. And just being a minority, you know you're already going to have like slim numbers being in these clubs. Like right now, there's just not that much like diversity in some of these areas. So just knowing that ahead of time is just something I would say to prepare for. But definitely starting your comfort zone, going out of it, you have so many more connections, networking, definitely just being more broad about what you're involved in. You can have so many other passions, I think, geared towards that too. We have like a couple ways that you can get involved. So I feel like mainly for Clemson, kind of just looking at like Tiger Quest, you can see all the different clubs you can join on there. And then Tiger Prowl is also a big one. That has like each and every single club that we have on campus tabling, and they divide it by specific areas. So if you want to join one that's more Clemson based, they have like a specific section for that. But if you want to join one that's more minority based, you also have that section too. That'll have like BSU, like what we're a part of, BIA, and then other orgs along there as well. I feel like that's also just like pretty cool.
Picking off that, like you can like reach out to people and like ask them like what clubs are you in, like how you get involved, and, you know, people will be willing to tell you.
I think that's true. Yeah, honestly, just like going up to people and asking. Some people have it like in their Instagram bios. Like you'll see some of these people just on campus too, or like at events. So just like walking up to them, maybe you have a class with them too. I think that'll be a great way to have that connection. And then they'll probably just go to that meeting with you or try to get you more involved, which I think would help out also. I think some of the perks of joining like a minority-based club is mainly just like having that sense of community. Like you'll see other people that look like you, and like how we talked about being at a PWI, like there's not that much in the statistics for percentage for that, but having those clubs that are mainly focused for you, it definitely makes your family seem a lot bigger, even being away from home.
It's like a comfort level. It's like a comfort level. Like you may see someone you know, you might talk about things, you know, relate to some things, you know, just a comfort level base.
Facts, yeah. I think like versus that, joining like a Clemson-based one, I feel like you'll have more sense of belonging, like maybe at the university. You can learn more about like the history behind it, or just like different passions that you might have, like for sports, joining ISAB, or being more gifted back to alumni, joining Student Alumni Association, being a tour guide, just talking about the campus. Like there's a lot of different ones that you can do based on your passion for the university. And I think also, like how I was saying, like you're slim in those numbers, but at least joining a Clemson-based one, you could be a part of those numbers, I think also makes a difference. A lot of the clubs I'm a part of that are Clemson-based, I do try to advocate for diversity just because I want it to be more diverse. Yeah. So I think trying to get like some of our friends to join some of these Clemson-based ones can help out in the numbers, so that way other people that might be visiting the school or whatever the case may be can also see that we have diversity, even though we are PWI. So that also kind of helps out too, joining different ones. Like being an RCM, I think that's also one. You want to talk about that.
Being an RCM, like, it's very diverse now, because, like, not many people would, like, I'm not going to lie. My residents, they thought, well, because my real name, they thought I was a Caucasian, but once they see me, they were very surprised at me being an RCM, because my personality, how I carry myself. It's just so funny, though. But yeah, it's very diverse, though. You know, we always try to get inclusive, like get everyone involved. Like, I really like it. Like, I recently just got hired last week to be an RCM for next year.
Hey, let's go.
Big props.
I feel like there's like a stereotype between joining like a minority one versus a Clemson one. Yeah. I feel like a lot of minorities will kind of not like give you a look, but kind of will like act some type of way if you join the Clemson one versus that. And I feel like we just kind of need to get rid of that stereotype. Like, I feel like there shouldn't be any like animosity for joining one or the other, or even both, honestly.
Yeah, it's like people be having like a misperception of like stuff. Like, oh, why you always with them? You never with us. Like, what's wrong with that? Why we can't be inclusive? Why we can't be diverse? Let's all be involved with each other. We all can like get involved. Like,
I feel like it's good to like step out of your comfort zone and have different kinds of friends too. Like, I feel like just maybe focusing on one is like always good to have like your support system, whatever that might look like for you. But then also just kind of branching out with like the different things you're a part of. Like, even if you see somebody in class, just like talking to them, like that'll at least help you in that class. Like, that's still networking and still having that. And I just feel like sometimes people might like judge one or the other when we just really need to come together and we're just trying to get involved, be on campus, things like that. And those are like the main parts to focus on instead of just like trying to bring people down or like saying that they act some kind of way or like only hang out with certain groups of people. I feel like that's kind of like a negative connotation for it.
Yeah, I just wish people don't judge, but I feel like it's never gonna change. People gonna just say what they want to say, but you are the person. You gonna have to just step out your comfort zone and do what you want to do. Don't worry about the next person. Worry about yourself. Yeah.
Facts. Kind of like how we were talking about the tips earlier. Like, just be you. Like, if you want to join something, go for it. If you want to be a tiger dancer, go for it. If you want to be in the math club, gamers club, whatever the case may be, like
do something you love. Just do what you want to do.
I feel like that's a big like part. Like, maybe you weren't like able to have those opportunities when you were growing up, and like now seeing a lot of different things, like doors open for people, and it can lead to so many other greater connections and just opportunities for yourself as well. So don't let like a stereotype kind of like force you to go one way or the other. Definitely like still be comfortable in what you want to do, and you can always listen to your friends' opinions, you know, the people that you're close by as well, but definitely like focus on what's going to be great for you and take their opinions into like consideration. But definitely whatever you think is going to be helping you towards your future, I think was the best part about that.
Yeah, never know who you're gonna meet. That's all I gotta say.
That is very true.
I met so many people. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
I think a lot of the clubs I'm a part of have like given me connections to people that have gotten me to greater steps. Shout out to Antonio. I met Antonio through a couple different clubs that I had through like Welcome Week and things like that. And he helped me become the co-chair for the Legacy Day this past year. So now I'm gonna be able to chair that, and that's with a lot of like alumni that have been giving back to Clemson and just like a lot of other special things too. So definitely having those connections can get you so much farther, and I'm so thankful for those people that have helped me like get to where I am today as well. Yeah, I feel like diving from that, definitely kind of how we were talking about like the struggle of like how to get involved versus like what different ways you can get involved. I think an important factor to also consider is like how you feel as like yourself as a being. And I think mental health is always like talked about in different like ways, different shapes and different forms. But I feel like mental health for minorities is never really talked about. I feel like growing up, we always kind of just like push it to the side. We're always like, we're okay, we're fine. Like we don't really want to like let people see that side of us. And I feel like talking about that, like now what we're gonna like dive into, like being a minority at a PWI and then also focusing on your mental health, definitely a lot to unravel there. So I think definitely the main point is gonna be lack of sense of belonging.
Yeah, I can pick off that, like for example, like freshman year, like not knowing no one and like being the only minority in the classroom, it was tough, man. But I really had my head up and stood tall. Like many times I had like used to call my mom and be like, I don't know how to get involved. Like it's kind of tough. Like it was just really hard, but I stuck it through. And I always told my mom, better days will come. And now look, better days happening right now. Yeah.
No, that's really good. Yeah, I definitely feel like not knowing anybody at first and then trying to like find out where I was gonna be. Like in certain settings, I just felt like I just didn't belong, and like trying to see what the best route like I could go, or like did I want to reach out to people? Did I want to just keep to myself? I think that's definitely something I struggled with coming on campus like at first and trying to see what group I could like just join or like be a part of. Like everyone seemed to already have like their groups like first day of class. So it's like trying to make sure that I figured out what was best for me and like what I felt comfortable with was definitely something I wanted to focus on like coming in.
Yeah, I felt like I was kind of late to the table though, cause like sophomore year, I'm like, I need to like find my group of people, find who I need to meet. And it was just like, dang, everybody now got their group, and I just don't want to barge in and join their group. So.
Yeah, I always feel like a bother to people. Like I never want to just like be annoying about that and type stuff. So it's just like trying to figure out what like the best way to go is, and just trying to like make sure that I'm not like stepping on any toes, but it's like I want to, you know, find that group of people, find that community, kind of like how we were talking about, and just like building that up, even being at a PWI, like whatever that family looks like to you, like you're able to make that, which I think is like super important.
Yeah, like just thinking about like freshman year again, I used to always go in the dining hall by myself. I used to try to get my roommates to come with me to the dining hall. They used to tell stories to me and say they would come, but they never showed up.
Dang.
So I used to go sit there, go in the dining hall by myself and eat by myself.
Aww.
And like last year, I met my other roommate. Shout out to H. You already know. We started going to the dining hall, you know, and just like now, like right now, every day, almost every day.
Facts.
Me, Danny, Corey, Donnie, all of us be deep in the dining hall.
I think the dining hall is definitely a great place that we found community in. See, food is always a good answer to anything. Like, we're always in the dining hall just talking about life, doing homework, laughing, making jokes, like whatever the case is. I feel like definitely having like that one thing that you can always like go back to, feel comfortable with. For us, it's the dining hall and eating food at Schlutter. So
yeah, we be in there for almost about 2-3 hours. Like we'll be in there, just start talking and just be talking.
Facts.
Recently, we just started doing our work, like studying and stuff in there, cause like that's the only place we be at 24/7 in the library.
I think that's a hot take. A lot of people don't like to study in other places but the library, but I feel like for me, I love studying like or doing homework in the dining hall. Like that's free food. You have a buffet, unlimited food there, and you can do your homework, and there's music playing. You sit in the comfy chairs. It's not going to be as packed as being in Cooper.
Yeah.
I always think that being in the dining hall is a great place to do work.
Yeah, dining hall top tier.
Facts.
Okay, for like mental health, I found an article where it said that Black people are more likely to express they face discrimination at a whopping 81%.
Wow.
Comparison to 59% of people who don't attend college. And I'm like, wow, that's very high.
That's a very high percentage, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Compared to like the 59% who like don't have the college experience, like that is like a big like shift in numbers as well.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Well, well, according to the Inside of Higher Ed, there is an emotional impact to the weight of racism in the Black students because Black students always suffer like from an increase from anxiety and poor mental health conditions. And that's kind of crazy to hear.
Dang.
That. Also, Black students at a PWI experience microaggression on verbal, physical altercations from protests of the George Floyd situation, which that was very sad to see and to hear about.
I think going like from like the microaggression, like the verbal, physical, like just like altercations and stuff, like definitely on Clemson's campus, there has been a couple of incidents like that.
Yeah.
I know that there was like a sitting in Sykes about 2 years ago that there was like bananas like on like the leaves of like trees there. And that's like, obviously like nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to be like in a space for that. I feel like that definitely wasn't like something good that happened. Another big one that we'll probably end up talking about right now is the Turning Point organization when they did their cookie bake sale. I think that definitely started a riot.
Well, it was this year. If you think about it, it was this year, or last semester. So back in February, the Turning Point USA, they had a cookie bake sale where each race had
different like prices.
Yeah, prices.
Because if you don't know, just like the different like prices based like what race like you are, and that's more of like for affirmative action, like knowing what you would get like special treatment for, things like that. So certain races had to like get the cookie for free, certain of them had to pay like $2, whatever the case may be, and they didn't really like advertise it that it was like an affirmative action display or like a way to explain it. They kind of just put up their like cookie bake sale sign and then just had the different prices. So obviously like, I mean, their goal was to create like a reaction and they wanted more people to know about it. I just feel like it definitely could have had like more like signage or something to also help with that too, because it was the first day of Black History Month, so a lot of people were definitely offended by that.
Yeah, like why wait February 1st?
February 1st was the worst
y'all
timing.
Y'all did it in March, April, all the other months. Y'all picked February, but it's kind of crazy. Like it made it went worldwide, I think. Cause,
there was like a whole news and everything.
Yeah, I made it on the news too, by the way. But
hey.
The Breakfast Club, the Morning Breakfast Club on Hot 103.9, Charlamagne the God was talking about it and like how silly he felt it was, and I kind of agree with him. Like I feel like they shouldn't have did that. Like they could have been other ways they could like did stuff, but not just in that way.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, every org is obviously entitled to like their own opinion and like whatever they believe, and like they're able to display that, obviously like having that like free speech and everything, but it's just like sometimes the way about going about things. I feel like that definitely could have just been one of the ways that we approached it more gently, just to be okay with everyone's like opinions and everyone's feelings too, because that definitely did rile up a lot of opinions, and that brought a lot of people outside and just started a whole bunch of stuff.
I was confused that day because like all my friends were just standing out there. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, they trying to sell cookies with our race. Like, why are you trying to make us pay for cookies? Like, come on now, with our race. That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
The cookies ended up being free for everyone, I think, too. Like, I think that was also just like, I feel like we definitely could have just went about like affirmative action just like being more like educational versus like having like a statement like bam, like in your face, which I mean, I guess is also a good way to go about it. But it's like for a topic like that, like I personally probably wouldn't do something like that just because I know it would offend a lot of people if that's like the first thing you see, especially if you're like a visitor on campus and you're walking around and you see something like that without like a sign that says like affirmative action display or like learn about affirmative action, like anything that can give you some detail, like that just makes like our school just seem a lot more worse in lighting than in reality what it is. I feel like at Clemson, like, yes, you're going to experience racism here and there. Like, there's always going to be different situations. Like, no school is going to be perfect. But I feel like Clemson does, like, acclimate for the most part, like, trying to get their students, like, feeling comfortable and things like that as well to just, like, finding their community, which I think is great because there is a lot of schools that are definitely, like, worse place than we are. So I am grateful that we go to Clemson and we still have, like, that sense of community and belonging. But there is always going to be those things that you can fix, and that probably was just one of them that I would have focused on.
Yeah, it's just life. Like, it's just getting you prepared for life, what you're going to see in the real world. It's just preparing you for the real world, in my opinion. Okay, so in the article, it talk about Christina Ben. She's a student from the University of Michigan, and she stated that she tends to be around predominantly black students because she feels more comfortable around them, and where she found herself facing new challenges every day when she is not in those spaces with them. So how you feel about that?
I feel like, do you know what race Christina is?
She's black.
Okay.
Black.
I feel like that's definitely like an option just because like you want to have those people that you're comfortable around with. So if you are black, you feel comfortable around black people, like that's definitely that's definitely, wherever it is. But if she's saying that versus finding new challenges when she's not in those spaces, it's definitely like,
you're going to have to, like, at least, like, trying to branch out, like, experience meeting other people, because, like, in the real world, when you get a high-paying job somewhere, you're not going to just be working around black people. You're going to be, like, you're going to be diverse, so, like, you're going to have to get used to it. And not all white people are not racist, and so.
Yeah, I feel like definitely coming in with more of, like, an open mindset, like, try not to have like that prejudice beforehand, because just because you hang out with just black people, you don't want to like assume something just because like the people that you're working with are white. Like you want to have like that open mindset and like, find that community because these are your coworkers or these are the people in your club, people in your class. Like you might need them to do a group project. You might need them to like do things, and you just don't want to like close doors or like close off opinions for yourself because you only like hang around with like one group. I feel like obviously if that's like, who you always lean towards, like that's totally fine, but definitely just be more open. Like it seems uncomfortable, I know it does. And that's why like doing it freshman year is such a great way, because I always tell visitors and I always tell people like being a freshman at college, like everyone's new. Even if you came from Clemson University, like if you came from Clemson in South Carolina all the way from LA, like everyone is still starting off new, everybody wants to have friends, things like that. Like building those paths starting that freshman year helps out a lot. If you're like a transfer student or you just came in late or like whatever the case may be, like still starting off, like not most people, at least at Clemson, are just gonna close you off because you're just saying hi. Like some people might think you're weird for going up to them and being like, hey, like what's up? But I think it's still good to like branch out. And that's why being in clubs is the best way to do it too. Because sometimes people don't like it when people just randomly walk up to them and try to start a conversation. But if you're in a club and you go to that first meeting, then you'll meet people and like that is your chance to talk to them. It's not like in an awkward setting that you're then dining hall and you're like, oh, can I sit by you, whatever the case is. But if you're going to like one of these meetings for a club that you like, you have a passion in, guess what? These are all people that have that same like and passion for it too. So you already have something in common that you could base it off of, which I think is so good just to like start with.
Picking off that, like what you saying with friends, like in one space, I feel like for me, like me and my friends, like that's white, we be helping each other. Like we always try to help each other, cause like we want to see each other succeed. It's not always about people being racist, you know. Like leave stuff in the past and like just focus on the future, in my opinion. Yeah. So picking off that about Christina, she said one issue she dealt with was her hair, like people making comments about her hair, and I find it kind of crazy, cause like. It's just hair. Like, why you judging people like what type of hairstyle they wear and stuff? So.
I feel like that happens to like a lot of minorities too growing up. Like, definitely when I was growing up, like I have curly hair now, and a lot of people be like, oh, why don't you like straighten your hair? Like, don't you like your straight hair so much more? But I love my natural hair, and I feel like that happens to a lot of people with curly hair. Like growing up, like they like their straight hair, like they would straighten their curly hair every day, just because of like where they grew up, or like people telling them that, or maybe that was like a personal choice and they do prefer that. But I know for myself, like I would always hear that, but I always liked having my hair curly. Like I felt like that made me who I am. Like, oh, Danny with the curly hair, like you already know. And it's just like hearing like stuff like that, like it just reminds like, you know, like growing up, just like hearing those comments about like hair. And I feel like it's mainly only with people that have like textured hair that you only hear those comments about. Because I've never heard anyone complain about straight hair or different like other styles that it might be the case, but it's always like different hairstyles too.
Yeah, speaking of that, like, see, I got 2-string twists, and like everybody be thinking I got dreads, and I be have to remind them, nah, these 2-string twists, these are not dreads. But yeah,
I feel like there's definitely ways to go about it too. Like, you know, being at a PWI, some people might just not know. They didn't grow up around different hairstyles, like box braids, knotless braids, like having two strands, dreads, like whatever it is. Like some people, exactly. There's a right way to go about it too. Like, yes, you are the minority, and like you don't, like sometimes it might come off the wrong way. Like sometimes you just gotta have to brush it off and still educate them, because I know I get a lot of like, oh, what even is that? Or like, what are you? Like there's definitely ways to word the question appropriately and still respectfully. And if you don't get that, obviously you can still address it and say like, hey, that wasn't a respectful way to address it. This is how you do it. Or this is my hairstyle. This is what it is, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like just like in certain settings, like there's ways to go about it. You're going to get those questions, like no matter where you go and no matter what group you're a part of. Like even some people in your same like minority class might still question it. Like don't think it's only outside people. It is still within the same groups as you that will question and ask you things as well.
Yep.
We also have like a statement from one of the students in BSU, and they were saying that they didn't find themselves getting into any clubs on campus at the beginning. They thought that it was more of a personal choice than something to hold them back, because they get in a lot of like extra courses and curriculums and all the classes that they didn't have time to join a club, and they thought it would be pointless because they wouldn't really like find a community, find a sense of belonging, and they found being involved to be more of a hindrance to their academics. But then they actually realized that just being more out of their comfort shell and out of their environment, that there was a lot of great advantages to be a part of these activities, and they made a lot of like different memories for themselves. So just hearing that from like other students here like on campus definitely makes a difference too. Just like one, being a minority like we've talked about, not like having those resources at first, or like not understanding where to find those resources, and just seeing different perspectives, like, oh, academics super important versus like, oh, I want to be like well-rounded, involved, and just like targeting those different students, I think definitely is a big deal for that.
I kind of agree. Well, another student named BJ, he stated that in class, like one of his professors made an insensitive remark towards minority students, which made them very uncomfortable. And I feel like, wow, professors really be doing that in class, and it's crazy. I feel like you shouldn't like make bad remarks, and like it's like certain stuff you say, like it's a time and place for everything, and like certain stuff you shouldn't say, and like yeah, I
know like for Connections, like I talked about that program for like first gen minority students. It's mainly geared for them freshmen, and one of my mentees was talking about in his like lab for one of his bio classes that like the TA like made like an insensitive comment, and he was like very mad about it, and he wanted to talk to like the teacher, and it was just like the communication just like fell through, so he wasn't able to voice like how he felt. But it's just like, I don't know, people just need to be mindful, I think, before they speak. I think that goes for everyone, not just certain groups, of just realizing like, you know, just the area, the space you're in, and how certain things might make people feel too. I feel like that's definitely a big thing.
Picking off that, I can like last semester, one of my professors,
oh boy.
It's crazy. I experienced this. I actually experienced this. Like in class, I do YouTube, by the way, El Peso TV.
Okay, shout out.
So, you know, we was talking about, everybody was asking me, I'm gonna be streaming today, like live streaming, playing the game. And my professor made a remark and was like, oh, what games you be playing? Shooting games? I'm like, whoa, wow.
Oh, whoa, let's pause right there.
Wow, like that's kind of crazy. Like I don't be playing those type of games, so I was like, really, I just be playing like sport games. And for her to say that, I was like kind of shocked. Like, dang, she really think I be playing that? So,
dang.
It was kind of crazy though.
No, that's actually, like, I feel like people need to stop making assumptions as well. I feel like that's just very...
Even like more people, like, freshman year again, like my roommate, he thought I do drugs and...
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he really thought that. He like, yeah, I have my smoking partner with me. No, misperception, wrong person. Same way with this girl last year. She thought I was selling drugs. I'm like, no, why y'all having these crazy perceptions?
That's crazy, RJ. We got to find some more extracurricular activities to do besides that thing.
Yeah, cause like, wow, y'all think every minority do those type of things? Not like, it's not always like that.
That's definitely, not the picture we're trying to put out there, and people just assume the wrong things, and that's so frustrating.
Yeah. I just hope it get better, you know.
I think it will.
We're gonna have to pray on it though. We're gonna have to pray on it.
Yeah, that is definitely something. I think just like kind of like a statement I wanted to talk about, kind of like my mindset is that it's just kind of easy to like get lost, I feel like, with all these different opportunities that we kind of just like talk to you about and different like resources, different clubs that you can do. It's easy to feel like you're missing out on a lot or you're kind of just being washed up, even like being at a university. Like at Clemson, we have like around 29,000 students, including grad. There's like around 22,000 undergrad students. That's a lot. Yep. And it's just like, you know, being a minority, like, you know that you're not going to see that many people, but it's just, you know, trying to like figure out where you feel like you belong instead of feeling like an outsider. And I know that a lot of people probably do feel this way despite being a part of a community of students, because I know a lot of us, we have our groups, but like we talked about with mental health and like not wanting to like talk about it or like voice any concerns or use those resources like we have, such as like CAPS, it's just like feeling out of place besides like your personal choices or activities, like your major, like trying to find people like that, the clubs you're part of, whatever it is. Like I just want to say, like, you're not alone. Like this happens to a lot of us, including like RJ and I, and what you choose to do in life or the university that you pick is also your choice. Like you're choosing to be here for academics, you're choosing to be here for the clubs, like make a name, make your brand, whatever it is. And honestly, like your undergrad, if you choose to do grad as well, these are going to be the best years for you to discover who you are, honestly, as a person. Like, you know, make mistakes, find those groups, whatever it is. Like, this is the chance to do that now because you don't get your undergrad back. Like, you truly just make all the memories that you want, like, now. And you might not even know that it's always happening, but it truly does impact who you are, I think, in the future. And I think also talking a little bit about, like, imposter syndrome is totally normal. Like, sometimes you don't want to act like who you are completely because of these different settings. I think just kind of like realizing what you're doing with who you're doing or where you're doing it, whatever the case is, like just always, you know, trying to be yourself and not feel like you're pressured to be like in different situations. Feeling like you don't belong is totally normal, whether it's your student experiences or your academics. Just go at like your own pace. I feel like that's definitely a big thing. Like you're really not alone. It takes time to figure out who you are and discover who you want to be and like being yourself to feel comfortable in your own ways. I think that's like a really big thing to go into for that.
Kind of agree. Like for my friends say H, in the words of H, he say, it's not about the grades you make, it's the hands you shake.
Hey, that's hard, that's hard. I like that.
Yeah.
Dang.
He always tell us that, so I just had to remember that. So like,
It really is the people you meet. I think that's going to make your college experience so much better for like personal life and also like your job. Like these are probably people that you want to make connections with. Like having that LinkedIn helps out, and finding people on there, whoever it is, that'll definitely help you out in the long run too.
I'm about to hit 100 connections soon.
Hey,
I'm at like 93.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, definitely. We'll have to drop our LinkedIns in because we definitely need to have that.
Thanks.
You know, it's kind of like being a small fish like in a large pond. You kind of have to figure out how you want to navigate it and just like figure out what you want to do. I feel like we talked a lot about like being a minority at PWI, like not knowing like your place and just kind of like branching off of different resources that you have. I know that was definitely a heavy topic that we kind of dived into, but I feel like it's a necessary one too. Like a lot of people know what they can do, or like don't feel like they have people to like go to feeling like this. And we just want to let you know that there's a lot of people that feel like this. You might have to be the first one to say it, to be like, hey y'all, I'm not feeling too good about this, but I kind of just want to bring it up. And everyone else is going to be like, dude, like same, like I also feel like this, or like I'm also stressed. Like sometimes you just got to take that first step. And I feel like that's a big thing to do, just like towards that.
Yeah, so we going to leave you with a question. We want your opinion. How do you feel about minorities are treated / involved at a PWI?
Ooh, I think that's a good question, honestly. Like, please let us know, because we just want to hear different opinions and kind of talk about it, because, you know, everyone has different experiences. I love that.
Drop it down in the comment section. You already know.
Yeah.
And next week, we will continue to talk about minorities at PWIs from an educational perspective, and not seeing people that look like you in class, and how to help to build confidence.
Ooh, I love that.
So, I'm RJ Polite.
I'm Danny.
And we the DP Society. See you next time.
All right, see y'all.